This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with a dedicated row of solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 17, episode number 3637. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are the Men's Room. On tap today, it is the random question. Your guess is as good as mine. Categories: dog parks and hip-hop's biggest earners. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, a Men's Room shot of the day, fun listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
The clock, drunk.
All right, here we go to Austin, Texas, where moviegoers checking out the Batman got the real deal. Meanwhile, a Florida man walks up neighbor's driveway naked before depositing his last meal on a glass table. Man climbs in a volcano in Hawaii to help save a boy's trapped dog. Woman believes she takes a picture of Ghost beside her with a really big hog. And a woman catfishes men on dating site is shocked to learn they're shallow. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, maybe you knew this, maybe you did not. But today, March 7th, is National Cereal Day. Why? Well, because every day is seemingly National Something Day, but also it was 125 years ago today that Dr. John Kellogg served the world's first cornflakes to his patients at a mental hospital. And that makes sense because if cornflakes are your favorite cereal, you are in fact crazy. Now, that said, cereal is America's most popular breakfast food and apparently one of the most popular bedtime snacks. So cereal, it might be the go-to snack for a 10-year-old boy in Singapore who suffers from Prader-Wills syndrome. Any guesses what Prader-Wills syndrome is? Good guess, Ted. It is, in fact, a genetic condition that makes you feel hungry no matter how much you eat.
Oh, I've had that for years.
So it's kind of easy to understand the inherent dangers of such a condition. But then there's a Chinese man who suffers from an eating disorder that is not dangerous, but it's probably embarrassing. He suffers from crocodile tear syndrome. This is a real thing. And in this case, it's a rare medical condition that causes people to shed tears every time they eat. Meaning he must be a lot of fun at dinner dates. You're just trying to enjoy some nachos and this guy gets all weepy. Fun times. Now, these are just some of the stories that we've come across. Stories that left us with many questions. Questions we'd like to ask you in the form of our random question, and this is how it works. You call us, we ask you a question at complete random. And after you share your story, we will share with you the news story that inspired said question.
Be part of the big show, the Random Question. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks!
What, Wilbur?
We just got hit and I think my back has all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Hello, Machalos. Away we go. Welcome to Season 17, Episode number 3637. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. That is a fact. The exciting return of your guess is as good as mine. We've got a couple good categories for you today. We've got the a list of the biggest earners in 2021 in the world of hip-hop. To give you an idea, in 1 year, one artist made $470 million. They would be number one. Now, when you get down to a tie, which is a three-way tie for number 10, $25 million. So in the top 10. Damn. And this is without touring, for the most part. I mean, this is strictly making money. I mean, there were certain shows. There were a couple of one-offers. Don't get me wrong. There were
But this includes, like, booze, clothing lines.
This is everything. Yeah.
All right.
Basically everything that you have to do with your business, so to speak, including your music end of it, if you had any of that. A couple of these artists, I'm not sure how involved they were in the musical world with their own craft, but might have been a part of other people's success as far as them being on their label, signing other successful artists. Either way, they made bank. Then we have the cities that are the best if you have dogs and you enjoy going to the dog park. One thing is a fact, you put that dog in the car, they get a sense of where they're going, and if they know they're on their way to the dog park, they start losing it back there, man. They are getting fired up. And the thing about a dog is that, you know, they want to look out the window. So you roll a window down, and they look out that window, and then the next thing you know, they are right behind you because they want the other window rolled down as well. And then your car starts making that weird sound it makes, like when your wind comes in weird, like boom, 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 boom. You roll up the other one and roll down there. Dogs can't figure out which side, but they get real excited when they're going to go to the dog park.
They do. Yeah, if they know, it's over, man.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas Eve.
And these are exactly the type of cities that you would believe would be friendly to people that have pets.
I'll just assume Seattle's on the list.
Well, Seattle's got a lot of people with dogs in the area. We'll say that as far as the statistics go on the number of 100,000 people and how many dogs actually, live in their own home with their owners there. So that's coming up with your guess.
200,000.
It's amazing. Seattle's got a high percentage of people who own a dog.
Yeah, I've noticed that when they show up at work and the grocery store and everywhere you go.
One of the highest in the country, I believe.
Every bar.
This was the first place I'd lived, and this probably 10, 15 years ago, down at the market, walking with my wife. There's a woman walking down the street with a baby stroller, got a puke in, you know what I mean? So he's got a cute little kid. It was a dog. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I could not handle it.
This city has ruined me.
What do you mean?
Because I'm so used to seeing dogs in strollers. Like the other day, I walked by a lady, and I was like, oh, what, you got two dogs in here? And I was like, oh, you have twins.
You have a baby. A human baby.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. They made those for these things.
First thing I do when I see a dog in a bar, I go up and say hi. Hey, can I say hi to your dog? Sure, man. He's in here for a reason. I would not be bringing a dog into a bar unless this dog was well behaved and
That's
acceptable. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I get it. Some bars, like Norm's, has always been like, no, we're a dog friendly bar. It just seemed like the last, 10 years, it's like I feel like I see a dog in every bar.
I know. I did not know that all bars were so dog friendly.
Yes, they are. It seems that way anymore. I just think for the most part, people are like, look, with all the COVID and everything else, is this the least of anybody's worries at this point in time? You know,
They were dragging their dogs in there before COVID.
They were.
I had to wait a couple of minutes the other day because as I'm walking up to the bar, the door opens and there's a couple leaving with their rather large dog, all right? But as it turns out, as they were leaving, their dog was getting into it with the other couple that was there with their large dog, but they're right at the front door. So they're like pulling them apart, and I'm like, I just want to walk into
Dog
the bar.
fight!
Right. I just want to get to the bar. I just want to drink. Why am I waiting for this?
And I'm with you. Like if your dog has to be a well-behaved dog if you're going to take it to a bar.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So your guess is as good as mine. Coming up, the category is again the best cities with dog parks and hip-hop's biggest earners from 2021. And of course, coming up on the Men's Room Happy Hour, exclusively on the Odyssey app, Monday through Friday.
The what?
6, we head on over to the Odyssey app for a little Men's Room Happy Hour action. It's more Men's Room.
Happy hour.
Happy, A-P-P-Y. If you download the Odyssey app and you search for the Men's Room Happy Hour, you will see that channel. That channel only goes live at 6 when we go on the air. If you're going to click on it right now, unfortunately, there's nothing on there. We're working on that. But either way, at 6 we go live for more Men's Room. And keep in mind that this is an adult preferred segment we do.
Yes.
Please don't listen with your kids in the car because we don't go by the same rules that we do on these airwaves. So we're allowed to cuss and talk about things we normally don't. So we would prefer you keep the kids away from that bad boy. But hopefully you can join us coming up. If you've never checked it out, we're on episode number 129.
Huh.
So we've been just chugging along. Man, we've done this forever.
129 episodes. Happy hour.
The Men's Room Happy Hour. Yes, check it out now on the Odyssey app and search for the Men's Room Happy Hour. And today is the day that we do our random question. 206-421-ROB.
Random.
Hello, Joe. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola. Joe, how are you, my man? How was the weekend?
Oh, it was good, man. Had a 6-year-old's birthday party in a movie theater. It was pretty good. You?
What movie did you go see?
We were actually able to bring our own, and we brought that friggin' Encanto with us, man.
Encanto.
I've already seen it. Apparently, it's one of those movies. I didn't realize this. So it was released in the theaters, but it was simultaneously released on demand. So my daughter had gone to see it with her friends, and I was okay with that because I had no urge to see it. She loved it. I get home from work that Monday. She has it paused at the beginning. Like, Dad, you can watch it with me. Yay.
Good times.
Yay.
All right, Steve brought it up early. Might as well just start the show off with this. It is National Cereal Day. What would you say is your favorite cereal that you enjoy?
I like that s'mores cereal. It's got Golden Grahams, cocoa, the cocoa balls, I can't remember the name of them, and marshmallows.
And what? It's just called s'mores cereal?
Yeah, it's just called s'mores, man.
Does it turn the milk chocolatey?
In fact, it does. It might be the best cereal that's out right now.
Ooh, I don't know.
Well, is it better than an actual s'more? You know what I'm saying? Like, s'mores are good, but is it better than a s'more?
Absolutely not.
Oh, it's not. Okay. All right. Well, what cereal would you say is your least likely cereal that we would that you would be eating?
Grape nuts.
Grape nuts.
Really? Grape nuts are low for me, but I realize it comes down to shredded wheat or grape nuts. I think I would eat grape nuts before I eat shredded wheat. I think.
I will say this. I'm sure that there are a lot of new healthy cereals that have been out in the last 20 years. That grape nuts just seems to be the standard of the one that I can remember growing up. I'm sure there are 15 more different varieties.
I'm sure.
I just never look up at them.
No, I have no interest
I
in it.
have to be honest with you. If I'm there it's like going to McDonald's and get a salad. If I'm at McDonald's, I'm getting a hamburger. You know what I mean? If I'm in the cereal aisle, I'm going to hook myself up with some cereal.
If your cereal does not have a mascot, I guarantee you I'm not interested. Because that's a sure sign that you're healthy. And then there's a few healthy ones that might have a mascot. But, like, if it's not a cartoony-looking mascot, I just know it won't appeal to me. I was telling Mike earlier, man, I finished my Cinnamon Toast Crunch last night, right? Late night stoner snack. But it was the end of the box, and as I'm shaking that box, all that sugar and cinnamon's dumping out of there. Those last 3 gulps of my cereal milk were so good.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. I thought, man, you could almost stand my spoon up in there, man. It was good. It was crunchy. It was cinnamon.
I think grape nuts could have a mascot, but it'd be awful tough to zoom in on those bad boys, you know?
You get the guy from Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah, grape nuts.
And he's just kind of pointing.
Feeling healthy?
Yeah.
Where on the grape lies this? Grape nuts.
What's your top cereal?
Top cereal? Oh man. I still enjoy the classics. I still enjoy Frosted Flakes.
Mm-hmm.
I still enjoy a bowl of Raisin Bran. I know you don't like Frosted Mini Wheats. I like Frosted Mini Wheats.
I know they're better frosted for sure. I just don't like the consistency of Mini Wheats.
But you can't beat Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Golden Grahams, Fruity Pebbles I've always liked.
I'm with you. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I think, is probably the most delicious one.
Sure.
But I feel like the one, if I buy cereal, it's almost always Raisin Bran Crunch.
What is your least favorite cereal?
Probably plain-ass Wheaties. Like,
Really?
I'd rather have cornflakes than a Wheaties.
I would say cornflakes over Wheaties. I just feel like Wheaties or cornflakes done very poorly. Like that's the
Any kind of
third
rice
grade.
puff or whatever those little puff things are. like
wait.
Sugar Smack Puffs. I don't like
Those are the corn puffs.
Yeah, I don't like corn puffs.
I don't like the corn-based cereals. I know the rice puffs are things like, what do you call it? Rice Krispies.
Sure.
Delicious.
Those are
They're
good.
fine. Add a little sugar, but
I just don't like that. I know Bran Flakes, Total, Life
my mother
cereal,
used to get Bran Flakes
all that.
and Total.
Just even like, and I hate to say this to any 2-year-old that's listening in the back of the car, but just regular Cheerios. It's not that they're bad. Just that if I'm going to get Cheerios, it's probably going to be Honey Nut because I think they taste better.
My kids love the plain Cheerios. I don't get it. We've introduced them to Honey Nut Cheerios, thinking, all right, man, step in the right direction, the natural evolution of things. They're like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want. In fact, my son yesterday, he wanted a bowl of cereal, so well, go get yourself a bowl of cereal. And then he's like, do I have to add milk? Like, you don't have to, but you're eating Cheerios, man. And he just dumped this big ass bowl of Cheerios, ate them like they're potato chips. And finished.
That's a pretty healthy snack.
I mean, I know it's a healthy snack, but like, man, have some respect for your taste buds.
An online poll recently asked people to name the best cereal to eat without milk.
Oh.
In honor of National Cereal Day. Over 150,000 people voted online. And without a doubt, Cinnamon Toast Crunch was named the best dry cereal to eat without milk. Honey Nut Cheerios was next, and then Cookie Crisp. Here's a few more stats they pulled out of this bad boy. The best kind of milk to use, most people said 2%.
That's what
Yeah, that's pretty standard, I feel like.
That got the most votes, followed by whole milk and soy or almond milk. Only 1 in 9 people think skim milk is the best. And that's my go-to milk.
I don't like skim milk. Mm-hmm. And I just do 2% because otherwise my ass will explode. Whole milk tastes amazing, but that is a diarrhea bomb for me, man.
They ask people if they pour their cereal in the bowl first or put the milk in first.
Cereal.
6% of us go milk first, which I think is still...
That's insane.
That is insane. What's the best fruity cereal? Fruit Loops got the most votes. Fruity Pebbles was a close second. And what's the best chocolatey cereal? Cocoa Puffs, followed by Cocoa Pebbles. Oh, man, and we can't forget Captain Crunch. Peanut Butter Crunch.
The Crunch Berries was my go-to.
I really do. I like a bowl of Captain Crunch.
I did too. And I mean, I liked it as a kid. I like it now. I don't have it much now, but maybe it happened when I was a kid as well. But as an adult, when I eat them, and Miles, you always say this, like the roof of your mouth feels like it was sandblasted by the time you're done.
It does. It tastes like you eat a French bread pizza. It took all the skin off right off the top.
Has anybody ever eaten one of those successfully?
What, French
No,
bread
without
pizza?
burning them.
Not without burning, yeah.
I refuse to believe.
Well, you already had to take like 35 minutes to make the damn thing cook. You know what I mean? So now you're so impatient. You got to remember it's thick and it takes a long time.
That's probably
to cool.
the problem. You waited so long to eat it. You're like, the hell with it.
Right. It's like a pot. He's like, get right in there. And what type of cereal leaves behind the best milk? The 3 that got the most votes, that would be Cocoa Puffs, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Frosted Flakes. In honor
I'd agree with those.
Frosted Flakes are delicious.
I like someone here says, worst cereal has to be Life. The name really nails it. Just a bowl of disappointment.
Random.
Hello, Vinny. Welcome to the men's room.
What's up, guys?
Hola. Welcome to the program, and random question. Let's see what we got here. What do we got?
By the way, Ted, somebody here says Wheaties are far superior to the cornflakes. What is wrong with you guys? Ted, are you drunk?
I am not.
Okay. All right.
I guess I just don't remember eating Wheaties without putting sugar on them.
No. And the only reason my parents ever bought Wheaties is because of who was on the box, right?
Right.
That was it.
Well, let's stick with food. What would you say is your favorite? And you call out a fast food franchise by name or one of your favorite restaurants or just the style itself. But what is your favorite type of French fry? Your favorite style. There's waffle fries, there's curly fries, there's steak fries, there are the traditional shoestring fries. Mm-hmm. What would you say is your favorite?
Well, definitely not the crinkle cut.
Right there with you, man. They are the worst French fry of the French fry world.
Crinkle cut being the waffle fry?
No. The crinkle cut.
Crinkle cut being the kind like they have the Shake Shack.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is.
Or Nathan's or whoever.
But I feel like I would say curly fries, tops. I love waffle fries. I don't know what it is with the crinkle fry. I will always try them. I always have these high hopes, and it's always a disappointment.
I really think it goes back to your upbringing and the fact that, like, school cafeterias,
crinkle cut.
They use crinkle cut, but they baked them. And that was just not that's just not the right way to make those kind of fries.
Yeah, we were having this conversation.
For school lunches, but yeah, for some reason, that crinkle fry, or whatever the hell it's called, it just never, ever cooks right. Always seems to be like soggy in the middle and maybe slightly crispy on the tips.
And the salt doesn't stick to them.
There's a couple places, though. Like you're right. Like, I remember Nathan's. That was always a big deal, the crinkle cut fries. But I feel like you have to fry them. But you're right. Generally, they're not well done enough.
I say it's not that they cannot be done well. It just seems like 90% of the time, they're not done well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never tried to cook them myself, but for some reason, everywhere I go, including Herpes, they never get it right.
Okay, so what is your favorite type, then?
Steak fry.
Steak fry.
Ooh, all right. You want the big, thick cut.
See, I think steak fry is overrated.
Well, like you're saying, sometimes it's soggy in the middle.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's too potato.
It's not done all the way.
It's potato. I will say that. I feel like
salt can't stick to it.
They could be underdone, but most steak fries I have, they nail. Right? You're right. It's a lot of potato.
Mm-hmm. I'm going seasoned curly fry from like Arby's or Jack in the Box, and then the standard fast food fry from like McDonald's.
I think anymore, to be honest with you, if they have a variety of options, if they have a hand cut chip that they make in house for the side of your sandwich, like where you dip it into like a
well, sure.
That to me, over tots, over like French fries, over all that stuff, I will go with a hand cut fry because they have like a fry sauce typically on the side.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. All right, the reason
there's a great place here in Redmond that makes those homemade fries or chips even.
What's the place?
Irish Pub. And for some reason, they nail it every single time. They can even come from DoorDash, and they're still good.
You're telling me that an Irish pub can work potatoes.
Right.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yeah. Reason we ask, what is your favorite style of French fries? You're not going to believe this one, but it's true. Vladimir Putin, obviously, is public enemy number one at this point, and somehow the hate is spilling over into poutine. The Canadian dish with French fries, cheese curds, and gravy.
Well, sure.
This is not a lie. A chain of French-Canadian restaurants is distancing itself from Putin because they say they've received calls and insults and threats of violence since Putin invaded Ukraine.
What does that have to do with poutine?
It isn't just that the names sound familiar.
Oh, my God.
Putin in French is actually poutine.
Oh, okay.
But
so wait a minute, Vladimir Putin?
Obviously, Putin is a person, and poutine is delicious. It's a delicious French fry item.
I'm calling Vladimir Putin now.
Restaurant put out a statement saying that they support Ukraine and that poutine is a dish that was born in Quebec in the 1950s. Putin, on the other hand, was born in Russia in the 1950s. Naturally, a lot of people have been joking about it on Twitter. One person said, people, please stop confusing Putin and poutine. One is a danger, an unwholesome, and the other is an unwholesome mix of greasy, lumpy, and congealed ingredients. The other is a delicious food. More of the random question coming up, 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated row of solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed.
You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Get in there on the random question, 206-421-ROCK.
Random.
Hello, Julie. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, bichola.
Hola. Julie, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, Julie, let's see here. How about this one? Julie, what would you say is it that you have a craving for a lot of the time? Or all the time? What do you crave?
Cigarettes,
Sweets.
candies,
Some people
sweets.
some people like sweets. Some people like salty stuff. Some people just like a good old-fashioned Coca-Cola.
So when you say sweets, what kind of sweet? What are your top 3 sweets?
Oh, no, I said sleep.
Oh, sleep.
You like, okay.
I'm guessing you have a little kid or more at home.
No,
No?
I just work terrible hours and don't sleep enough.
What kind of hours are you working?
4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Ooh, that's
Jesus.
tough. So what, you don't get to bed until like sometimes maybe 4 a.m.? Because like anything else, when you come home, you're still jacked up from work. It doesn't matter what time it is. I mean, I remember having that life where I was working an overnight, getting home at 6 in the morning, and then not being able to get to bed until 8 or 9 just because, I'm still awake. I still need to get some food in me and all those things. So is that tough for you to get to bed?
Yep. Sleeping pills, earplugs, eye mask. I probably fall asleep at like 8 in the morning.
What do you do for a living that your hours are 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.?
The casino.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, you got to be jacked up by the time you get home then, right?
Yes.
Well, there's so much stimulation in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like constantly.
Right. As far as the lights, the sounds, all the things. I mean, that never stops.
What do you do that your shift is so long? I mean, the average job, they're going to give you a gig, right? It's 8 hours. At least that's what they say. Maybe you work more, but your actual shift is 10 hours. Why is that?
Just a supervisor.
Oh.
Now, does the casino itself shut down at 2, or does it continue on and another person comes in and does your job?
They shut at 2 on the weekdays, and then the weekends are open till 4. But we just got taken over, so they're trying to go 24/7, which they'll probably do when we get enough employees to do that.
Okay, all right.
Do you think that would shorten your shift at that point?
Oh, no, because then I get to work 4 10s, and then I have 3 days off.
Okay, well, let's just say you get a week's vacation. How hard is it for you to just get back on a regular schedule of doing things
when everyone else is getting up?
Doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
It just doesn't.
So even on your 3 days off, you're still upside down. You're still going to bed at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And is there any appeal to you if someone says, hey, you got a couple days off, let's go to Vegas? Or are you like, dude, I'm around it enough?
Yeah, no, casinos aren't really where I want to be on my days off.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What do you set your alarm for? 2 p.m., 2:30?
Oh, noon? Because I have to be here by 4, so it takes me a couple hours to get ready, and then...
So you're only sleeping 4 or 5 hours a day?
I can usually fall asleep. I try to go to sleep at 4, but I usually fall asleep around 5:30, so about 6 hours, 7 hours.
All right, that's not enough sleep. I mean, that's why you're so tired all the time. That's and then you're upside down. Okay.
Yeah, I think the upside down. So I think I get about 6.5 a night. Usually go to bed around 1. About 7:30, I wake up, and then don't bother to get out of bed until 8.
I love sleep. I am such a fan of sleep. I mean, I'll sleep. The only time that I can't sleep is when I can't sleep. So if I know for a fact that I can sleep in one morning, I'll wake up at 6:30.
Oh, guaranteed.
You know what I mean?
On the weekends.
Right. I could lay here forever, but no, I'm up. And I don't know why I'm up, and like now I'm up. I'm just like, oh man, I could sleep till 10 if I wanted to.
If you want.
And I could lay back down and toss and turn. I'm just like, the hell with it. I was like, get up and start doing stuff.
Right, but if it's a weekday, you feel you could sleep all day.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, if I have
this morning. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, but if it's a Monday you have off, I'm with you. You'd be like, gotta get up, do some crap.
Rainy morning, you just want to lay there. Reason we asked, what did you have a craving for all the time? David is a 10-year-old boy from Singapore. He was diagnosed with something called Prader-Willi syndrome, which is a genetic condition that makes him feel hungry no matter how much he eats. So imagine filling your stomach with any kind of nutritious or non-nutritious food you wanted to, but never actually experiencing the sensation of fullness that we know as, I believe it's called satiety.
What word?
Satiety? I don't know.
Let's call it satisfaction.
Right. That's what David So, a 10-year-old boy from Singapore, has to deal with every day of his life. This complex disease, among other serious symptoms, leaves sufferers feeling hungry regardless of how much they eat. It is caused by the loss of function of genes in a certain region of chromosome 15. And believe it or not, it's incurable. So if you live with it, it's tough, especially for the people looking after the sufferer, because the urge to constantly eat is so strong, special measures need to be taken in order to ensure that patients don't eat themselves to death.
Jesus.
Quite literally. Morbid obesity is one of the main dangers of dealing with this, but it's not the only one. Recorded cases say that sufferers develop holes or tears in their intestines due to the unnatural quantities of foods they ingest, and even gastric issues. Other complications include severe bloating and decreased gastric emptying. So basically, you're not able to...
So you're not even farting or pooping.
You're not using the bathroom, yeah. Harmful to the stomach. There's all kinds of bad things associated with this thing. And people who are of adult age, they basically hoard food. They always forage for food. They steal food, and they steal money to buy food, almost as if...
You're like a drug addict almost.
Yeah, correct. They say if the family does not go to great lengths to control his weight, going as far as to lock the kitchen door to ensure that he doesn't overeat, they also set up a very specific eating schedule so that he knows exactly when it's time for a meal or when he'll get a snack. The good news is that as long as David's weight remains under control, his life expectancy and quality of life should be the same as a normal person's.
I mean, other than the fact that he's constantly wanting to eat, my question is, if you're a parent, how many years does it take for you to recognize the problem, right? Because if it's a baby, like, this baby eats all day. No. Nobody says anything, right? Constantly bottle feeding, all that. Oh, that's a good, healthy baby. Maybe when they hit around 2 years old, can you honestly get a sense like, oh, you're overeating?
We just saw you eat dinner. Now you're still hungry. Now you ate another plate. That's one thing. But now...
my kid does that.
I mean, hounds are insatiable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
If you leave food out for a dog,
they will eat until they die.
A beagle or whatever, and they want to get food, man. Their whole life is just dependent on food. Bless you. And they will do everything in their power to eat themselves to the point where they lay on their side and can't move for hours in pain.
Like it's satisfaction. That's the goal. That's the end game.
Yeah, it's almost like they're going into hibernation at that point of the year. You know,
exactly.
Like, get as much food in them as humanly possible.
They're always ready for hibernation.
Right, before like 3 months of just nonstop nocturnal behavior.
I am stunned how much food I can watch my kid eat. And I know I used to eat like that. And I don't know what age that kind of stops, but just you constantly need another snack or another, and they'll finish the plate. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I know they're growing, I get it. And I'm looking at them like, how can you eat this much food in a day? And my parents point out, they were like, you did the same thing. In fact, when I moved out of my parents' house, 2 weeks after I moved out, they called me to tell me, could I come check on the house on occasion? They're going to take a trip to Brazil. All right. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, man, we're going to Brazil. And it sounded incredibly exotic to me at the time. But I also mentioned, I lived there for 18 years. I'd love to have gone with you. And my father, no nonsense. He goes, the money we saved on buying you food bought our tickets to Brazil. Said in 2 weeks of not buying groceries that included your hungry ass, we had enough to buy 2 plane tickets and a hotel for a week in Brazil. And now I see it. Now I'm like, if I cut my kids out of the grocery list, like, we can go anywhere.
They also don't drink a lot of water. They also don't have any other habits like smoking cigarettes or chewing gum.
Right, there's not additional costs.
Exactly. Like, it's not like all kids have is food.
Right, that is it.
Like, that's a pizza, burgers, like that is, besides Christmas and getting presents and stuff like that.
Well, the video game world's kind of changed that, though, right? So you can get your kid a game, and it's still $40, $50, $70, whatever. And like when we were growing up, if you got a video game, then that was it. But now, because everything goes to the internet as opposed to being a cartridge, they get the game, and then 3 hours later, hey, Dad, can I spend $5 on what? And it's something within the game. Mm-hmm. And then you get better, and 2 days later, like, hey, I will do this, and this around the house. I can get $20 to buy my V-Bucks, to buy more crap. And I'm like, man, so I dropped this money on your game, and as a result of buying this game, now it's just a matter of me spending more money for you to play the game I already spent money on. It's insane.
At one point in time, I can't remember how old my kid was, obviously younger than a year old, big into formula. That was basically where they were at. Formula and some soft, mushy foods, but for the most part, still like pounding down a bottle. This stuff was expensive. It was like Infamil or similar.
Yeah.
It was not cheap. Either way. I had just enough for one bottle. I figure, all right, this is going to last for this morning. I will get to the grocery store immediately. I will buy more of this stuff. We are good, no problem. Get that bottle, man. I mean, she sucked it down within like 30 seconds. And she started. And then she threw it all up all over me. And I'm just you've got to be kidding me. So now I'm going to take a crying, screaming baby to the goddamn grocery store and buy more, formula because I can't leave her at home.
Right.
Even though the grocery store is only a mile away. I can't.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got to get in the seat, man. We got to go get more food and also I have to change clothes. I have to change my clothes. It was just, man.
Everything. Like when I opened the fridge last night, just 80% of the stuff that's in the refrigerator, really, it's for the kids. So I'm like, I don't eat this, my wife doesn't eat this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this. And I'm starting opening drawers and stuff. I'm like, I eat cheese. That's what's in this entire goddamn refrigerator that I would want to have, right? And the freezer, it's all of them, 100%. I don't think there's anything in that freezer for my future consumption.
Really?
It's 100. Yeah, everything in the fridge is for the kids.
Well, like
the biggest one I've noticed is that if somebody has Baby Bells, I almost guarantee they have a child. Like Baby Bell cheese, don't get me wrong, it's delicious. I just don't see a lot of adults that just buy Baby Bells.
They don't buy Baby Bells, even though they're delicious, and they don't buy those mozzarella cheese stick things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I buy those.
Okay, I was going to say, now, we did that when my son was younger. He loved those, and I was very happy that he loved them because I ate about half of those.
Yeah, like I'm still guilty of that. I still buy string cheese. But I feel like Baby Bells, for some reason, it's only people with children.
I moved on to the block land.
I'm a block guy now.
I'm a Tillamook block cheese guy. You know what I mean?
Well, look, if I'm buying cheese, I'm saying I like string cheese. You ever get the not Crate and Barrel? What's the other cheese?
Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. Or I don't know. What are the fancy cheese? But they just have that little bag with the little squares. It's basically like snacky cheese for adults.
I think the pre-cut, pre-shredded cheese just doesn't taste the same.
It doesn't because it's not all cheese. And we have probably 5. We have a blend shredded Mott's, shredded Mexican blend, shredded cheddar, right? And I always give my wife a hard time because I'm like you. Just get the block cheese. I'll grate it, man. It melts perfect. You know what I mean? And she goes, look, like many things, these blocks of cheese are not for the children. All that shredded crap, because kids, they just want garbage. You know what I mean? So she's like, I realize it's a lot more cost effective. Open this bag of shredded wood pulp, dump it, because the kids don't care. They're happy, and then I go back to the regular shredded cheese and stuff. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. It just doesn't melt right.
I love the Tillamook farm style.
What is farm style?
It's like shredded cheese, but it's a little thicker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like it's more like real cheese that's been shredded.
It's Tillamook,
The only problem is that you buy, like sometimes I'll put meatballs in a crock pot, right? And I'll get little Hawaiian rolls. You can have like meatball sliders.
Yeah.
But half of that farm style just gets snacked on.
Absolutely. I love somebody here says, I love Baby Bell cheese. I'm 31, but yes, I also have 3 kids.
Random.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love goldfish. But times I have them, there's only somebody's house that has kids. I'm like, oh, goldfish. It's like, I don't go out and buy goldfish. I love them, though.
And kids seem shocked that you don't have that stuff.
What, if they go to your house?
Yeah, like, where's the goldfish? I was like, I don't have goldfish.
Because everyone they know is also a kid, which means their parents have also about the Oreos, the goldfish, all that crap, right? Hello, Tanner. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, guys.
Hola.
Tanner, welcome to the program. Random question. Okay, Tanner, let's go with this one. What job have you done on the side? What has been a job, maybe it wasn't your primary job, but you just took a few hours, or maybe you worked for a friend or something like that. What has been your side job you've had?
It was a one-time side job that I did some trade work for a friend. He was willing to paint my car and do a bunch of work for me, and I was like, okay, cool. He just said I needed to buy materials, so I did that. But then he goes, I have a side job for you to do, and I went, okay, but I'm going to show you it once I'm done with the paint quality of the car. And I went, okay, that sounds fair. And then he got the car done. It looked great. And he lived in a mobile home. And he goes, all right, it had a crawl space. And he goes, I need you to crawl under here and rip this possum out. And I went, what? And he ripped off the paneling on the side of the trailer. And there was a possum that tried to eat through the subfloor and then got wedged in there because it like spanned up and died. And so there was a swollen, about 2-week dead possum. I just shoved through his subfloor. Honestly, it was the funniest thing I ever saw. It looked like somebody tried shooting a possum out of a rocket launcher, and it was just stuck up in the floor.
Were you able to pull it out?
Well, that's the thing. If I went to grab it, when I grabbed it, all the skin came off its tail. It just
I was
kind
gonna
of peeled
say.
off like it was bad. So then I had a pretty strong stomach at the time, so I went in with a pair of channel locks and picked it around its spine and then wiggled that bad boy out of there. And it was gross. But, yeah, those things got some massive teeth on them. I'm glad he wasn't alive.
What do you do for a living that you are the guy that I picked to pull the dead possum out of my trailer?
Well, at that time, I was working at a wrecking yard. I was the one that told you about the cat full of maggots.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, then you're the guy. All right. Sorry. Yeah, hey, man.
And then also the guy that flushes poop on a submarine, so...
Yeah, you're the guy. All right. Like, look, dude, you deal with gross things. That's your MO. And that works out.
You're the guy that dumps poop off a submarine.
Yeah, I got a possum stuck in the bottom of my mobile. Hook me up.
Reason we asked, what job have you done on the side? Papa John's is currently hiring professional baseball players who aren't playing due to the Major League Baseball lockout. Matter of fact, Atlanta Braves players Dansby Swanson and Jock Peterson already took up the offer. They've done a couple shifts at a local Georgia location. Last Friday, they made pizzas and folded boxes during the shift as a preseason pizza pro. All players who participate will receive the same benefits as regular employees. Papa John said in a tweet, quote, "Are you a pro ball player with way too much free time on your hand during the prolonged offseason? If your team isn't doing much lately, why not join ours? We'll put your talents to use catching orders, taking a swing at pizza making, and delivering the goods like you always have. You'll even get a brand new uniform. So join our team roster and apply today." Dansby and Jock even shared videos of their initial interest in the job listing and why they'd be perfect for Papa John's.
Look, man, any job's fun to do when you know you're not obligated to do it, right? So, yeah, they're already making bank. So the idea, like, yeah, man, I'll make pizzas, all that, interact with people. That's a lot more fun than if you work at Papa John's to make ends meet. Like, if you guest bartend, right? They've had me guest bartend. Mm-hmm. I had a blast doing it because I know it's not my job. I know I don't have to deal with all these customers again. Like, I had a great time. I would never want to be a bartender.
A bartender?
Yeah. I like going to bars, but I know who I'm sitting next to. Half the time, I'm the problem. But, like, I would not want that gig, dealing with that many people that all, like you said, Ted, a bachelorette party, and I get a $5 tip on all this crap that I did for you. Because you're
almost right. No offense, but almost everybody I know that is like, oh, I'd love to be a bartender. I'm like, you've never done it.
Right, obviously. I would not want to be. I love what they do. Make no mistake, man. Appreciate you deeply. But I would never want to.
And I liked, I didn't mind bartending, but after a while, you're just like, all right, this isn't as fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if I guest bartend, like, I will have a blast doing it. Like, I suspect these Papa John's guys are. Like, yeah, this is cool because I'm still going to my 5-bedroom house. I know I don't need to do this, you know? No matter what, your job's fun when it doesn't matter. Like, when you have zero fear of being fired, you know what I mean? Like, any job's cool.
Well, you said your buddy has been a full-time bartender his entire life.
Correct.
And he goes down to the Caribbean or something like that, the Bahamas?
He works in Ocean City, and then in the wintertime, they go down to the Caribbean and work.
So he's down there for like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
See, I think that aspect of the job would be cool. To be able to say, like, look, and there's a lot of people who do it. I mean, half the time if you've ever been to Hawaii before and you start talking to somebody, they all have the same story. Well, I came out here 10 years ago on vacation and decided I'll just never leave.
That was it. I mean, and that's everything. Every bartender I talked to, exact same story.
And it was a job that they could take, and they're like, why? I have one life. Why don't I just live my life here and enjoy myself? And I love it here, and, I'm from the middle of nowhere, so
I mean, that
I can do this job anywhere, so why don't I do it here?
I mean, look, if they say, guys, we are going to fly you to the Caribbean to do this exact same job, same show.
6 months.
Yeah, like, all right.
I mean, I think
done.
I think the other hard part about bartending is just like, generally, you're going to have to work at least Friday or Saturday.
Right, that's one thing,
so
man.
It's like Sundays are fun, but like most people have to go back to work on a Monday.
Right.
So like that's why most bars, if there's an industry night, it's like Sunday night or Monday
night, without a doubt.
More of the random question coming up, 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.